Hey, this is a bit of a different video than I probably normally do. This week I celebrated my 43rd birthday, and as a birthday present from my wife, I got a set of spices, uh, sauces from the company who provides them for Hot Ones. If you've seen the YouTube channel Hot Ones, I'm actually a big fan of it because it's actually a good show for learning more about the people they actually interview. A lot of times when celebrities or whoever is going out on these press tours for a new movie, they get asked really kind of boring, dumb questions, to be honest, by a lot of people. And Sean over at Hot Ones has always done really, really great interviews, and I've just really enjoyed watching his show for years. And back in the last summer, I was out in Israel working with Manada, and I was having lunch with the team one day, and I reached down for grab something off the plate and just bit into what I thought was a bell pepper. Turned out to be the hottest pepper I'd ever eaten in my life, and I'm just sweating and crying, and we all had a good laugh and everything. But ever since then, I've had this sort of weird obsession with spicy stuff. So, um, this year I got these spices, these sauces for my birthday, and one of my nephews, a recent graduate from Yale, who is now here in Denver, just up the street from us, so we get to see him more often, which is great. He said congratulations and happy birthday, and suggested that I try to answer a difficult question after eating one of these or trying one of these. And his brother, my other nephew, who is currently a business and computer science major over at the Rakes program at the University of Lincoln, I reached out to him and I said, hey, this actually sounds like kind of a fun idea. Do you have an idea for the question? So the question he wrote me was, and I thought this was really great, and I'm going to try to answer it here. So, what are some of the limitations and trade-offs of using AWS Lambda functions, and how do you overcome them? So, put that up here on the screen. We can talk about that, see how it goes. So, this is the unique garlic sauce. It smells really good. I love garlic. I put way too much garlic on stuff. I think this has got garlic and, of course, a lot of peppers, onion powder, black pepper, Italian seasoning. So we'll try this out and see how this goes. All right. So what are some of the limitations and trade-offs of using Lambda functions? So Lambda functions are a great way of being able to define very small bits of execute or compute functionality. They can be triggered by a number of different sources, like an HTTP endpoint, either an API gateway, or that is pretty spicy, or a application load balancer. They can do just about anything, lots of different runtimes, and a lot of really great flexibility. I call them the Swiss Army knife of AWS. If something doesn't come out of the box capable, out of AWS, you can typically get a Lambda function to do it for you, but there are limitations to it. Oh boy, the probably biggest limitation is the runtime. You only get 15 minutes tops. That's the maximum timeout you can have on a Lambda function. You can't go longer than 15 minutes. So if you have a really long running process, or don't know how long a process is going to run, Lambda's not going to be the good fit for you. But beyond that, they've actually really fixed up a lot of the limitations in the past. So you get up to 10 gigs of memory for these things. File system storage is a lot now, more than you'd probably ever really need. And then you can't define CPUs, but they scale with memory. Now, So those limitations really is on the runtime. You can put pretty much anything in them now. You can drop in your own containers, your own runtimes. Traditionally, Python, Java, Node.js, C#, those are kind of the ones that come out of the box, but now you can just give it a container and do whatever you want to inside the container. Two still remaining limitation, though, of course, is the runtime. And, probably cost. Lambda is really great on small scales. You get your first million invocations of a function per month for free off the bat, and then it's only like 20 cents per million after that. So even if you're going to have these things back to API gateways, they're really cheap. Now, if you're going to have a really extremely high volume system, you could probably make arguments that they're not going to scale quite as well. The other thing is, because the pricing mechanisms and things, you wouldn't really want to be doing a lot of really long running operations, even though you got 15 minutes. You wouldn't want to have any sort of API call or anything like that that's long running in Lambdas and behind API gateways. API gateway has a 30-second timeout no matter what anyway, so you couldn't even work past that if you wanted to. But if you want to listen to an SQSQ and process a big long running message, well, again, you've only got 15 minutes. So the other big limitation is you can only do x86 and ARM processes, and ARM is actually a fairly recent addition. For a long time, it's just x86. So if you need to do things like AI work, GPU-centric work, things where you're going to want a processor that's really good at doing math. Again, that's like AI rendering in a lot of cases. I've seen people do rendering in Lambdas, but it's just not that efficient, I don't think. Lambda's probably not the good way to go. You want to go towards probably like ECS running over EC2 instances or something like that. But those are kind of more niche problems, I think. Lambda is really good for most general purpose stuff. Ooh. Okay. The only other side I'd say is limitation is the development experience. If you want to sit there and do development on Lambda functions, hopefully you can do all that development locally and through unit testing or through some touch testing. But if you're really trying to test the integration with other AWS services and stuff, you got to deploy it out to a cloud environment to get that to really test and do end-to-end. And at that point, you got slow deployment times, you got slow iteration loops and things like that, and that can be a bit of a drawback. So I think that's it for the limitation. So working around them, don't use Lambdas if you're going to be doing GPU intensive stuff or really math intensive stuff. Go use like ECS over top of EC2 instances or something. That's probably a good fit in most cases, I would think. And as far as the development side goes, get really good at unit testing your stuff. A lot of times if I'm doing things where I have to trigger this Lambda off like an SQS or an API gateway or things like that, I'm not totally sure what the input's going to be to it yet. I don't exactly know what the shape of that object looks like. I'll put out a Lambda function on an initial push that does nothing but just log that incoming event. Do a touch test on it, send an actual event through, look at the logs then, and I've got that object, and that now becomes the input to a unit test that I write, and I just do unit testing locally and try to do that as much as I can before I ever go out to a cloud environment. So, yeah, unique garlic, good stuff, pretty spicy. I think it's spicy enough that you don't really taste much at this point, but it smells delicious. I bet if you put this in like a ranch dip or something or mixed it in with something else, probably be really good. So anyway, for my nephews who recommended this, thank you. Appreciate it. I think hopefully this is fun for everybody. And I guess if you like this, if this was any good at all, and you got another question you want me to answer, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter or put a comment on this video, and I'll try this again. Thanks.